Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. Our study is about how colors influence human behavior, how they perceive the world, and categorize positive and negative stimuli. Researchers began correlating colors with emotions. Correlation between color or the word of the color which falls through an emotion represented. Brighter colors are associated with happier moods, while darker colors are associated with less pleasant emotions. The purpose of our study is to see how participants felt when asked a series of questions while seeing a color at the same time. The colors that were used are red and blue. We found that blue corresponds with sadness, while red corresponds with anger. We tested to see if gender was also a factor. Results showed that no main effects for color conditions and for gender conditions are on participant moods.
The study was aimed to determine whether two independent variables had significant correlation in mood changes. Color, as the first independent variable, was divided into two levels, more specifically, blue representing sadness and red representing anger, and gender as a second non-manipulable independent variable, suggesting significant differences in mood changes between males and females. Moreover, we utilize color theory as well as past studies to support and contribute factual results over the correlation between color and mood and the effects that color has on gender. Past research indicates certain colors are correlated to a specific mood stimulus. Warm colored tones have demonstrated to be associated with anger, tension, and hostility, while cool color tones to sadness, depression, and loneliness. As well as there exists a specific relation that moods may be varied between males and females. For this study, we came up with two different hypotheses. The first one stated that participants exposed to the color blue would experience sadness, and people exposed to the color red would experience hostility and anger. And the second one stated that once exposed to the color blue or the color red, gender would create significant differences in mood. We will now go over how the study was conducted.
Hi, I'm Lena, and I will be going over the methods section of our study. In our study, we had a total of 76 participants, 41 being female, 11 being male, 2 being non-binary, and 22 not disclosing their gender. These participants were recruited online through social media, teaching platforms, family, or friends. The average age of participants was 18 to 21 years old. For our research design, we used a quasi-experimental between subjects design. In this 2x2 factorial design, there were 4 levels for the independent variable, which was color. The first independent variable was color, in which a red or blue picture was shown before a mood survey was given. The second independent variable was gender, in which demographic questions were asked after participants were exposed to the color conditions and mood survey. The procedure of the study was carried out by randomizing participants into the color conditions by either receiving a red or blue picture and then completing a 39-question mood survey and answering a variation of demographic questions. Finally, for our study's measures, mood, or the first independent variable, was measured through 2 levels, sadness and anger. Changes relating to sadness and anger were related after exposing participants to the independent variable conditions. The scale used was a 5-point Likert scale, which included the points not at all, a little, moderately, quite a lot, and extremely. For the second independent variable, gender selection was based off these demographic questions. And now we will be discussing our results.
Hello, here are the results for our study. We found a mean for color at 2, a mean for gender at 2. The significance for color was 0.93. The significance for gender was 0.08. The significance between the two was 0.747. Thus, our lower level for our P level is 0.05, and thus our error level is within our findings, so we must accept the null hypothesis because we have found no main effect that is statistically significant for either color or gender or between the two of them.
In the study, we examined two different factors, which were color and gender, and we wanted to see how both of those affected participants' moods. The results show that there is no main effect between color and mood, and that there is no main effect between gender and mood. Our original hypothesis for the study was that participants exposed to the color blue would experience sadness, and people exposed to the color red would experience hostility and anger. We also predicted that once exposed to the color blue or red, that gender would impact the differences in mood. Since there is no main effect between color and mood and no main effect between gender and mood, our results do not support our hypothesis. The results also demonstrated that there was more probability of error than 0.05, which means there's a greater chance of error instead of the factors actually causing the main effects. In addition, the results do not support existing literature regarding cognitive color theory. For example, L. Wexner concluded in the past that any color has an effect on participants' moods and reactions, regardless of their gender. A. Fetterman also found that people who favored the color red were more likely to exhibit hostility in their behavior. So since our results do not support our hypothesis, the results also do not support existing literature as well. In our study, there were limitations and strengths present. Starting with limitations, sample size for us was not as big as it possibly could be. This is important because a lower sample size means a lower external validity. External validity helps with the generalizability of a research project, so a lower external validity means it is less generalizable. There is also the presence of extraneous variables, which are variables that couldn't be controlled in the study. For example, those living with mental illness taking a mood diagnostic scale could be impacted by their mental illness, not just the presentation of a color. There are also different cultural perceptions of colors within the world. Lastly, there's always the stress of living in the middle of a pandemic that will affect one's mood as well. One strength employed in the study was the use of random assignment. Random assignment is important in the study because it yields more impartial results, which means that there is no bias from the participants. Random assignment also lowers the possibility of researcher bias, allowing for a more objective analysis of results.
Thanks for tuning into our presentation, and if you have any questions regarding our study, feel free to ask.